Hey, what is going on, guys? I've got another Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary for you today, and today we're going to be playing some Scout, as you can see by the gameplay kind of thing, whatever's going on at the moment. But this game, as I'm playing Scout, which is not really usual for me, because Scout, I usually play a lot of payload maps, and payload is my favourite game mode in Team Fortress 2, but I really cannot play Scout because Scout, I feel that it doesn't really play, it's not really a class that plays well for payload, and literally every class plays good for payload apart from the Scout, in my opinion, because it just seems that although Scout, it can maybe push the cart with an extra person because it has the ×2 and you can push carts twice as fast, it's just not fun. Being a cart pusher is not fun, and although I am not an anti-cart pusher, I say in quotation marks with my fingers, but really Scout, it's got nothing going for it in payload, and I know you guys who like the Scout and are going to be raging at me right now, but it's true really if you think about it. If you ever go on a payload map like Badwater, Gold Rush, these are the two most popular ones, you will see that Scout is one of the least played maps. Scout is now a map apparently, but it's one of the least played classes because it just doesn't work for payload, and the tight spaces, it's not really good for Scout, and Scout's best game mode is probably a CP game mode, maybe like Granary, that's a great big open map, or Gully Wash as well, where you've got lots of open space to roam around and things like that, and it doesn't really play the tight maps, like the ones I play the most, like Gold Rush and Badwater. It doesn't play them very well, but people have been requesting that I play some different maps from my usual, and they said one of the maps to check out is actually PL Frontier, and I have played this map before, and the reason I never play it is because I find the map is just completely broken, and the reason is because there's literally no servers that host this map for more than 2 games basically, and the only server that I could find was a Valve server, and yes, as you can see by the title of the video, which is Valve server related, I'm not sure what the title is yet, but I am playing in a Valve server, and you know what Valve servers are like, hopefully. If you don't, I will educate you on that very shortly, but basically they are broken, and to be honest, even not on a Valve server, I find this map just broken. It's a community made map, and just because it's community made doesn't mean it's broken, but because it's not designed by Valve, maybe it didn't go through as much of the balance testing that a normal map would, maybe like Badwater or something like that, but still, there's still maps that are unbalanced made by Valve anyway, such as Dust Bowl can be a really unbalanced map at times, especially when custom servers mess around with the respawn times, and Dust Bowl can be a really frustrating map, especially pushing that last point, because sometimes they just, for some reason, they give you 20 minutes to push the last point, and that can either be ridiculously long or it's just not long enough because it's just the way it's broken basically. But basically, Valve servers, I am going to educate you on a Valve server now. So what is a Valve server, you may be asking, and I'm going to answer you that question. A Valve server is a server which obviously Valve has, and it's basically the vanilla server of the game. So let's say for some reason tomorrow every person or every company that owns a Team Fortress 2 server decided to stop hosting them. The only servers that would be left are the Valve servers. They're the servers that are always going to be there. And say if you are new to TF2, a Valve server is probably going to be the first server you ever experience. And this is because when you go in the main menu of Team Fortress 2, there will be like a search mode which is find game basically, and that will quick search you into a game mode, so you can either choose attack and defend, which is control points, capture the flag, doomsday, payload, whatever you want to do, and when you search that in, it will join you in those servers as a random map, but it will be a Valve server, and this is why the Valve servers kind of are broken in a way, because if you are getting people that have just joined the game, the only way they know how to search for a game is the great big button which says to do it so. And it's common sense, you know, for a new player. You're not going to know how to server search. That's what I call it, server search. You know what I'm talking about. It's the place where you open the search thing, and then you search for a server, so I'm calling it server search. And if you're a new player, you will not know how to use this, and you're not going to know what UGC means, or what replay means, or what anything means, because certain servers have different things like fast respawns, 32 players, 24 players, 9v9s, competitives. It's quite complicated when you start the game, and that's why, I mean, look at this. There's just a sentry outside the spawn and it's ridiculous. But Valve servers, basically, if you are playing it as an experienced player, you will be called as what is, I'm trying to think of the words. You will be called a pub stomper, basically. And a pub stomper is someone that's a professional player, or a high standard player, or just a better player, or maybe a seasoned player. I'm not saying you have to be the pro of the pro, creme de creme, cream of the crop, whatever, but you're a better player, let's just put it that way. And if you go in these Valve servers, you are directly stomping on noobs that have just got the game. And for some reason, people do this as just like a living, basically. What makes people pub stomp, I don't know. Maybe they get satisfaction out of it, that they're getting high scores. Sometimes you will see that people who record TF2 actually play on Valve servers, especially montages. So say if there's like a trick stab montage, then you'll wonder how they're getting so many of these ridiculous trick stabs and the enemy are just oblivious to it. Sometimes it'll be in a Valve server when they don't even know what a spy is, what a disguise is, and that's how they can get those ridiculous trick stabs. And if you're playing as a pub stomper, it requires absolutely no skill at all. And it's obvious in Valve servers that there are pub stompers about, because me in this game, I'm pub stomping, okay? But I'm doing it on purpose, because I'm giving you kind of like an insight on what a Valve server is, what a pub stomper is, and why to avoid it, basically. So I'm doing it on purpose. And as I was playing this Valve server, I realised that I was not the only pub stomper in, which is not a surprise for Valve servers because they're usually full of them. You will notice that some players will not have a clue at what the game is, and you can really tell that. And then you will see someone with an unusual just walking about, absolutely stomping the other team to the ground. And it's not a nice thing to see, because it's not strengthening the community in any way at all. And I personally am very anti-pub stomper, and I think I don't know why you would do it, because when I was playing as this pub stomper, I got a ridiculous score in this game, but I felt absolutely no satisfaction from it. I didn't feel good for getting a good score. I didn't feel anything, because you just don't, you know, unless you're someone that gets satisfaction out of pounding noobs to the ground for some reason. I don't know why, but you just don't. You don't get any satisfaction, because you know that it requires no skill to get the kills in most of the times, and the only real challenge is going against the other pub stompers, and there's usually at least two on the other team, maybe one on each team, pub stompers, and that'll be your like nemesis for the game or whatever. It's ridiculous. But basically, you will get these people, you'll see that they'll have fancy hats on, you'll see them rocket jumping, pogoing, you know, doing trick stabs, doing all this, and you look at them and you think, why? Just why? And, you know, I'm not going to rant on about it, obviously. Some people, you can't, you know, you can't tell them not to go in the server, they have the right to go in, but usually people in the Team Fortress 2 community are strong, good players, and I don't mean good as in player level, I mean they want to help the community, because the Team Fortress 2 community is actually a really strong community. It's a really nice community, and you know, there's lots of things that contribute to the community, and there's lots of things that, you know, downgrade it a little bit, and Pub Stompers is one of those things, because let's say, for example, Team Fortress 2, you know, it's an old game, and it still gets influx of new players, and that's what keeps it going, even though it's an old game. But if people are now going into the game, they're getting the game, they're downloading it, and they are getting absolutely stomped to the ground, thinking, wait a minute, this game isn't fun, you know what, I'm going to uninstall it and stop playing it. This is the kind of risk that you're taking when you pub stomp, and you could be scaring new players off the game, and, you know, making the community smaller. And do you want to feel that? No, nobody does. But lots of people are unaware that that's kind of the effect, but it kind of can be. And I mean, whilst you could say that because they're new to the game, they don't know what's going on. You know, if you're dying over and over again, you do know what's going on, because in these Valve servers, they've got the standard respawn time of about 11 seconds, and if you're constantly getting killed, that's a long time to wait of not playing, and you're not going to want to play the game if you're just getting, you know, bashed on it, really. And that's why I think they should add something to the Valve servers which say, you know, if you've had this amount of hours gameplay, then you can't play, sorry, because, you know, you're stomping on them too much, and that's kind of what I think should happen. But yeah, so that's what a pub stomper is, and I've ranted on about that because, you know, if there is any pub stompers watching this, please stop what you're doing, because it's not right. Because, like I said, I was only doing this for entertainment purposes or educational purposes, both at the same time, really. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I can talk about the pub stomping side of things. But what I was talking about before is that you get no satisfaction out of the playing, because you know that the players don't have any common sense, and you will sense that there's that one other person on the other team, or that two other people on the other team, it's usually one or two, that are good at the game. And, you know, people would have been looking at me thinking, my god, what a pub stomper, and I actually was, you know, and I didn't really feel proud. And I never play Valve servers, and it's just, you just don't, you know. If I see one of my friends in a Valve server, you know, when I go on my friends list to see what servers you're playing on, I kind of feel like, you know, why? Because that's just what I feel, really. I'm very anti, and I know I keep ranting on about it, and basically I should probably talk about why to avoid the Valve servers. So why should you avoid the Valve servers? Is it because, you know, you will not learn anything? Or there's lots of reasons, really, because think about it, okay? If you want to get better at TF2, you're going to have to play the game, but you're going to have to play it in the right conditions. So if you play against a better player, you might die a lot more, but the more you die against him, the more you learn about him / her. The more you learn about the player, the more you'll learn how these experienced players work. You'll learn more about how they play, you'll learn map knowledge, you'll learn everything. All these things you will not get in a Valve server. The reason for this is because you're just not playing against the experienced players, and when you play in the Valve server, you may be the champion of the world. But when you go into the real world, the real servers, you realise that you suck at the game, because Valve servers are a kind of games that you want to, when you start TF2, it's a good place to start, it's a good place to practice against the fellow, I don't want to call them noobs, the fellow new players. And it's a great place to practice and, you know, get all your basic knowledge of the game, like what each class does, and, you know, what their capabilities are. So maybe you might learn that a spy has a cloak, you know, or you might learn that a scout can run incredibly fast and has a double jump, but he also has cons, which is low health. So you'll learn all these things from a Valve server when you start playing the game. But as an experienced player, when you already know these things, what do you get from a Valve server? Well, all you get is increased game time, and that's pretty much it. You might get a few kills on your freaking strange knife or whatever, but you really won't get anything out of it, and that's why you want to get, why you really want to avoid them, because it's a good place to start, it's a bad place to stay, is the main saying about Valve servers, and it's a very, very true, because you're just gonna, if you are a good player and you go in a Valve server, you're actually going to reduce your skills, because you're gonna get to the noob habits, and you're gonna get used to them, such as this. Look at this. I'm getting away with being a wild face stabber. If I go in a normal server after this, then I won't get away with being a wild face stabber, and maybe I won't learn from that in this server, and you can actually make yourself worse at the game from playing in Valve servers. I know it sounds bad, because, you know, surely I'm playing the game more, but it's actually true, because I get away with a stupid amount in this gameplay. I mean, the amount of points that I get is not healthy, and I actually think that I break my own record as a spy in this game, and I wasn't proud of it. I'm not even counting it as a breaking of my own record, because it just doesn't count, because the players, they had no spy sense, and you could tell that, because, you know, they didn't know what a dead ringer was, they didn't know what a disguise was, they didn't know how to spy check, no spy awareness, all these things. And, you know, it's just, I hate Valve servers. I've got a deep hatred in my in my blood for Valve servers. Especially, you'll get to hate them more as you become a more experienced player, because when you see those players that are put, look at this, there's just so many examples in this gameplay why Valve servers are bad. But let me talk not really about Valve servers anymore, but a little bit about Foundry, the map, and why, in my opinion, Foundry is a bit of a broken map. First reason why Foundry is a bit of a broken map, okay? The spawns are a little bit dodgy, in my opinion. For example, when you were watching the video when I was playing Scout, I actually spawned and there was a sentry outside the spawn door. That's an example. Second reason is the servers. The servers that this map is usually played on are usually servers which have upgrade to premium trials. So if you press 1, then you'll get to try out premium, where you have 10,000 health and you can play the game and not die, because that's how fun it is. Whatever. Mainly Valve servers this map as well, and also servers with 32 players and fast respawns. And the third reason is just the amount of chokes, and this map has got horrible chokes, horrible height advantages, and I know I might be frustrating some of you that actually like this map, but I'm sorry, I really do not like this map to play. If I ever saw it in an example where it wasn't broken, I would probably change my mind, but I have never seen it in that example. Even when you watch other YouTubers, maybe, I know I've seen a video of Star play this gameplay. He plays Scouts on this map. Search it on his channel. If you watch him, he's spawn trapping, well, not spawn trapping, but he's spawn trolling, and he gets away with it quite easily, and that's just an example of what can happen in it. And he was probably on a normal server or his own server against decent players as well. So, you know, the map's broken. I mean, especially the last point. The spawn is on top of the cart on the last point, and that's kind of bad for both teams and good for both teams, if you get what I mean. Because, you know, if the teams are stacked, then the good team could spawn trap the enemy, or the other way around, the good team could just sit on top of their spawn with a level 3 sentry and stop the cart. Also, this map tends to have a lot of stacked classes, but that's not really the reason why the map itself is bad. That's just due to the servers it's played on. So, sorry for insulting this map, and I know you might like this map yourself, but I really don't like it, and it's only because of the servers, really. Mainly because of the servers. The map itself is really nicely designed, and yes, the spawns may not be the most perfect, but, you know, there's some great ideas, such as the cart. It's called Lil Choo Choo, and if you actually stand in front of the cart when it's being pushed for too long, it will actually eat you. You know, there's some cool concepts, especially the last point as well. The cart actually pushes down into a great big pit, and it's a really nice design. It's got some great map design features, such as, I'm trying to think, such as the flanks. It's got very good flanks in this map, especially for Spy. I can tell that I'm getting very good flanks on this map. And there's also, what else is there? There's lots of nice, just, if you look at the map, it's a nice map to look at. It's a nice map for rocket jumpers, for, you know, for mini sentries. There's lots of positions on it. There's lots of different vantage points, and it's a unique map because of the way it's designed, obviously. And, you know, it's a nice map to play sometimes, and especially as Spy, it's really good for the flanks, and this flank in particular that we're on now is actually my favourite. But like I said, on the Valve servers, you know, you want to avoid them, because I just do not die. I mean, in this Spy gameplay, I don't die, because I can just get away with so much against these new players, and I don't even need to do any acting. I mean, yes, I need to have my disguise on, but once that disguise is up, I am pretty much invincible, you know. Look at this this pyro here. He just gave up. He just completely gave up, and, you know, I don't really have much to commentate on the rest of the gameplay, because it's just me trolling about in the spawn. But I would like to know, do you have any other things you can add to this? So, is there any reasons why I could maybe change my mind about this map, or Valve servers in general, or am I completely wrong? If you disagree completely with me, tell me in the comments below. If you think that I have misunderstood Valve servers, then I am ready to accept that if you put the evidence below. So, comment below. Tell me what you think about my... and don't dislike it. well, dislike it if you want, I don't even care, but don't dislike it just because I've slated Foundry and Valve servers, because that's my personal opinion, and I've tried to give detailed evidence in my opinion, so you can put your opinions or your arguments below. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this server, and I hope this educated you on Valve servers and maybe Pazapwns as well. So thank you for watching, and I will see you later, guys.
Downturned snouts nearly 18 feet long.
If you enjoyed this Team Fortress 2 video, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video.